I'm with Alistair and Hugh McDonald just outside of Collyamberley in New South Wales, and they're two brothers who are not only farmers, they're contractors and they're innovators. They've come up with a whole new way of processing chook manure to turn it into a biological soil stimulant and fertiliser. Thank you very much both of you for having us out here.
No, thanks for coming, Tim. Yeah.
You guys have seen an opportunity in chicken manure that others have struggled with in the past because it's been an inconsistent natural biological fertiliser that can be too hot, too cold, all sorts of problems. You guys have worked through a whole manufacturing process to turn it into a consistent fertiliser. Tell me a little bit about how that started.
We got offered an opportunity, Tim, to do something with the chicken manure, which was a local resource that there was lots of, and we started off composting it ourselves, and then we bought a little pelletiser from Gumtree, and then from there we bought an old stock feed mill in South Australia, full plant, and we pulled it down, moved it back, and unfortunately it was an expensive learning exercise, but the gear we had wasn't suitable to pelletise chicken manure, and we've just built a new plant that we've finished in about March or April this year, and we've had it up and running now, and yeah, we're really happy with it.
And you've brought science to that sizable investment as well. You've got a biological chemist working with you in South Australia.
Yep.
And you're adding a lot of things to the poultry manure at the start.
Yeah,
and turning it into a complete fertiliser. That's
right, Tim, and we're really excited about the results we've been getting.
Well, I can't wait to see. Can we go and have a look at your open air factory and then this fantastic tech that you're using to turn that product into a reliable and consistent fertiliser? So Alistair and Hugh, this is the amazing natural resource that you've got here in the Griffith area with lots and lots of chicken sheds. You've got chicken manure, but it's not as simple as a farmer just getting the chicken manure dumped in their paddock and composting it, is there? There's a few issues with chicken manure?
Yeah, that's right. So one of the issues with chicken manure is its low test weight. That truck we saw rolling earlier might have had 7 tonne in a grain tipper on, for example. So the pelletising process allows us to load trucks to weight, which then we can get some efficiencies out of freighting the product into areas where they haven't previously had access to chicken manure.
And you can turn this from what you were saying about 8 tonnes into 32 tonnes.
That's correct, payload on a truck.
Now you're also increasing the biologicals in this and you're making a consistent product, because I know it's a natural product, it'll be inconsistent in what you get in terms of the amount of bedding mixed in with the manure and that sort of thing, but you're using microbes and other things to sort that out.
That's right, Tim, and probably there may be a bit of a misconception going on as around to the variation in the chicken litter. Probably the biggest driver of that variation could be the moisture content of the litter.
Okay, and you're managing that very carefully.
We are, yep. So we've got different ways we're managing that, and then we have a biological chemist who's making some products that we're adding into our composting windrows, and we're getting really good results of these. And
by those products you're talking about humic acids, you're talking about some microbes and also some trace minerals as well.
That's right. So what's good in the broiler litter is all the trace elements and minerals that they feed to the birds that then pass through and come out in the litter.
Now you were telling me off camera that broiler litter is very different to layer hen litter.
That's correct.
And layer hen litter can have some issues with it.
It can, yep. And
what are those issues, mate?
We've seen in some analyses that they can have heavy metals in them.
Okay. Whereas not so much in the broiler.
No,
it's just the difference in the feed.
So we're not trying to replace a synthetic fertiliser here.
Yep.
You know, so we're not so much chasing the NPK. You know, this is more a soil health tool.
You're feeding the microbes in the soil, which are going to increase the amount of naturally acquired nutrients for the plant.
Absolutely, and you know, what we're trying to get is better efficiencies out of the synthetic fertiliser that we're already using.
Now here there's a bit of a process here in the paddock, because this paddock is your factory. This is where you actually turn this raw chicken manure into a product that is consistent, laden with nutrients and ready to be pelletised, mate.
Yeah, that's right, yep. We'll through the compost turner, it makes a very uniform windrow, yeah.
Well, let's go and have a look at the various stages and talk us through how you treat the product when it's on the ground here, mate.
Righto, sounds good.
So Hugh, this is some stuff that you've got in just recently, and it's full of straw as well as the chicken manure, and it's fairly dry, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yep, we haven't actually started to the composting process on this one yet, but it's it's about to be underway. Yeah.
And it's got an ideal carbon to nitrogen ratio
it's
for
pretty
that?
well spot on for what we want. It's about 30 to 1, yeah.
In the composting process, you're taking carbon that's locked up in dead plant cells and you're turning that carbon into living microbes, aren't you?
Yeah, so the inoculant that we're adding to it is full of microbes already, and they use all the straw and chicken manure as their food source, and they just grow and multiply at an astronomical rate.
You've got to measure and manage the temperature of these piles very carefully, you were telling me off camera.
Yeah, so we need to keep it between 50 and 60 degrees so that...
right through, not just in the core?
Yep. So right through. It loses a bit of temperature the further out it gets, but we're constantly turning it to mix it all through. It has to be at that temperature to compost. You don't want it too hot, because if it gets too hot it burns and then you're wasting your time. You may as well be spreading dirt on your paddock.
And I imagine you need to keep it warm too some times of the year. How do you do that, mate?
Well, we add water if it gets cold. But depending on the season, like in winter, the manure comes a lot wetter from the chook sheds than in the summer.
Okay, so it naturally adjusts itself almost.
Yeah, and then a bit of rain makes a little bit of difference, but yeah.
Well, let's go and have a look at the production process of turning, because that's fascinating. You use some pretty cool equipment to do that.
Yeah, righto.
So Hugh, big tractors, mate. I love big tractors. Tell me what's going on here, mate.
So this is just a 310 horsepower tractor with an IBT transmission now.
Okay.
Because we need to go, sometimes down to 100 metres an hour to get the right inoculant rate out, which a power shifter tractor can't do. So.
And you've got a big, if you like, stirrer on behind the tractor there, and then you've got an inoculant tank. Tell us a little bit about that.
So there's a 6 metre compost turner. It's got about a 500mm pipe in the middle with agitating blades on all different angles through it, so that as it's going through, it's throwing the outside in, and it constantly agitates soil up.
So it's not just bottom up, but it's sides in as well.
They're all different angles in there. And then we've got the 10,000 litre cart behind it, which we do all our, because they're liquid inoculants that we put in there obviously, so we batch everything up in there, and then we work out the density of the compost rows and how many tonnes, and then we work out our application rate as it goes. And
your speed and application rate, you were telling me off camera, changes as the compost matures.
Yeah, so we lose about 30% of mass as it's composting, just through all the bugs eating all the goodies, and it all shrinks down. So it changes as we go.
So that not only influences the speed of the tractor, but the rate of dosage of your inoculant and your water as well.
Yeah.
So you're managing all of that out here in the paddock.
Yeah.
Your factory, if you like, is under blue sky.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Couldn't be a more natural product if you tried, could it?
No, that's right.
But you do have a factory.
We do.
And that's where you take the natural product and you turn it into a consistent and easy to apply pellet that people can put through seeders.
That's right, yeah.
And that's Alistair's kick, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we better go get him.
Right.
All right, let's go.
Sounds good.
So Alistair, this is where the magic happens, mate. This is where you turn your fertiliser into a product that can be used.
Yep, that's right, Tim, yeah.
Can we go and have a look at the magic?
Yep, let's go.
Well, mate, there's a heap of gear here. It's a big boy's own adventure, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yep.
Now, it's a tricky thing to turn a natural product into a consistent and reliable fertiliser that people can use through machinery, mate. It's taken you a couple of goes to get
it has,
right.
Tim. So we bought an old stock feed plant in South Australia about 4 years ago.
Okay.
And we moved it back here and we put it up. Anyway, we were pretty excited when we, it was a big project to pull it down. I think it took about 6 or 7 road trains to get it all back. And we bought it back here. Anyway, we rebuilt it, put it in pretty well exactly how it was in its previous life. Anyway, we were sitting here with the boys after spending a month or two doing all this and waiting for the pellets to start it up. And when we started it up, it just blocked everything. Anyway, so that was our life for probably 2 years or so. We had we persisted with it, but unfortunately we were just getting a lot of bad advice and we probably had the wrong equipment. So we've just rebuilt this plant here, and it's it's purpose built. So it was an expensive learning curve in the last one, but we've got the right equipment now, and we're really happy with how the new plant's running.
Well, mate, you've put in a fair investment to this. Do you mind taking us through how parts of this work? I know there are parts of this you can't show me.
Yep.
Because you have had to develop your own IP at great expense.
Yep.
But can you take us through the basic steps of how you go from the paddock, a natural, variable product, if you like, this fertiliser, and turn it into a product that will actually run and flow consistently through machinery that people can use to replace the synthetic fertilisers?
Absolutely, yep, let's go. So it all starts here. These are 2 in-feed hoppers, and the raw product, well, when I say the raw product, the compost is put into these bins and they're fed with a front-end loader. So everything with the compost, in terms of nutrients and additives and whatnot that we're putting in, is done before it gets here. So once we get to this point, we're working with the finished product in terms of the compost, and it's processed, made into a granule. So the plant has 3 PLCs for its automation. So there's one that runs the grinding side, which we're on now, one that runs the pelleting side, and the third one's for safety. So every potential hazard in the plant has a deadlock on it. So if we open this when the plant's running, this little sensor here will shut the whole plant down. These bins are also hooked up to the PLC, so the automation. So if something happens in the further up the plant, instead of blocking this auger, it'll stop from the back and slow everything down. These will stop and start as required further forward. From the in-feed bins, it goes up these elevators and into the hammer mills. If you'd like to come for a look up here, I'll show you up here. So the reason we put it through a hammer mill before we present it to the pellet press is because we're working with an organic product here. It's chicken manure. These are specifically designed to handle grain, which is a very consistent product. The sieving process during harvest pulls out any defects, where with the compost there's some variation in it. So we've modified these heavily to handle that. Above the hammer mill here is a pocket feeder. So these pocket feeders have got a metering wheel in them, similar to what you would have in a air seeder, and their job is to give a consistent flow to the hammer mill so you don't have product running down one side or the other side. In these, there's also a magnet, and this magnet will pull out any stone or pull out any steel, and there's also a stone trap. So I think in here you might find a little bit of steel probably. There's a washer that's come out of the floor of a poultry shed probably, and that going through our pellet press could potentially do a lot of damage. So it goes through the metering wheel into the hammer mill, and then it sucks through the hammer mill by these 2 vacuum boxes. They've got a vacuum cleaner bag essentially inside them, and they've got these air cannons up here which put a static pulse through the system spasmodically on a timer, and that empties the vacuum bag, and which just goes back into the system.
Now, Alistair, there's a fair bit of IP involved in all of this, and there are sections from here on that I can't show everyone.
Yep, that's right, Tim.
But you're essentially using little bits of existing technology and building a whole heap of new technology to produce a consistent product out of a natural one that can be run through machines.
That's right, Tim. What we found, and we probably found out at the expensive way, but a lot of this equipment you can't buy off the shelf. You unfortunately have to make it yourself.
Yeah, 100%. And there's a huge investment of time and money in that, isn't there?
There is, yep, but anyway. Yeah.
Good on you for having a go, mate.
Thanks,
Let's have
Tim.
a look at the rest of what we can look at.
Righto.
Have a look at the pellets.
Yep, righto.
Awesome. So next step, mate, all of the processed compost is coming down these white chutes here, and it's being put across into this pelletiser. This looks pretty wicked, mate. Show us how it works.
It's a massive piece of gear, Tim. To turn a powder into what is going to be a pellet takes an enormous amount of pressure. That all happens in here. We also need to cut the pellet at a consistent length, and that all happens in here. So Tim, there you have it. There's a biologically available, beautiful organic fertiliser. If you have a taste of it, they have a very sweet taste. Check, don't break a tooth.
Yeah, I've got to be real careful what I mate. There's not a lot left. But mate, that's not the end of the story, is it? Because if I was to try this fertiliser coming out of this machine, it'd be pretty hot. You've got to cool it as well?
We do, Tim, and that's the next process. If you'd like to, we can go and have a look.
So we'll skip over a bit of IP here.
Yep.
We're going to have a look at when it comes out and we cool it down.
Yep, good on you. Thanks, Tim. Let's go. Outside, Tim, we have a big fan and a cyclone, and essentially it is pulling air through the bottom of this cooling tower and cooling the pellets.
And you're pouring pellets through that cool stream of air.
Yep, and that will spasmodically drop on a timer or periodically drop on a timer. And the pellets from there, once they're being cooled, go up a bucket elevator onto a shaker table.
Where they're further cleaned out and screened for any imperfections.
So any imperfections are pulled out there. In this process, we're pulling out the oversized pellets, which could potentially block a planter, or any flakes that are coming through the production line, and the fines. And they all go back around and start again at the start of the process.
So you've got all of the chemistry and all of the biology right out in the field.
Yes, that's correct.
Then we come into the shed and you're getting all of the consistency of the product and the shape and the flow right. And you're pulling out any imperfections. So it's leaving as a perfect product, but it's still a living biological, isn't it?
It is, absolutely, Tim. So when we're still working on our product, you know, we're proud of the product we have today, but we're not at the end of the road with it.
The innovation story is going to continue with you for a few years, I'm feeling.
I think so, Tim, yeah. We're trying to get our product to a level where it's user-friendly for every application, you know. Doesn't matter what sort of planter you have or drill or spreader, you know, that it's going to be similar to a synthetic fertiliser to handle.
So Alistair, you've got a commercial product and it's delivering farmers a living organic fertiliser at the right rate, at a consistent rate.
Yep, that's
but
right.
The proof is in the pudding when people start using it. You've got someone who started to use it.
Yeah, it's very exciting to start getting some product going under crops this season, and we were still building our plant. We're in the commissioning stage during sowing time, but we managed to get 1,200 or 1,400 tonne on the winter crop this year, and we're pretty happy with the results everyone's getting.
And Duncan's one of those people that's tried it out early for you.
Yep, that's right. Duncan's used it under all his winter crop this year, and he's pretty happy with the results. He didn't have any major issues using it, and yeah.
Well, I love to meet an innovative farmer. Let's go meet Duncan.
Righto, sounds good. Tim, this is Duncan Griffith.
Duncan, how are you, mate?
Good, thanks. Tim, how are you?
Mate, I'm stoked. I love to meet innovative farmers, and you are one of those. You're trying brand new product out here.
Yeah, we're using Alistair Hugh's pellets this year. Had a crack at them, and we had some pretty good results.
And you've actually replaced the synthetic fertiliser with those pellets. You replaced DAP at sowing time, is that correct?
Yeah, so we just swapped out the DAP for the pellets at the same rate, went straight in. Yep.
So what was that, about 120 kilos per hectare?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, and what sort of difference have you noticed? Has there been any difference in the yield or in the quality of the crop or in the health of the crop?
I think the yield's going to be a lot bigger than usual, but we still use synthetic fertilisers, but I think that this has complemented the synthetic fertilisers really well.
So you've taken one fertiliser out, slotted in the pellets, and the rest remain the same?
Virtually, yeah.
And you reckon you're getting a bigger crop this year than you would normally expect?
Yeah, we've had a pretty good year out here, and we've got irrigation.
Yeah.
So it's on irrigation with the bore, so we can water it whenever we need to. So the crop hasn't wanted for anything, but yeah, everything's going well.
So we can't talk about resilience or anything like that, but it does run through your machine pretty well. What sort of machine were you using to seed with?
Use a Gason air seeder with a Seraphim bar.
And no problems with that?
No problems at all, yep.
Yeah, so it was just as easy as one bag out, one bag in.
That's exactly right, yep.
And Duncan, how do you think this year's crop would compare to previous year's crops with the synthetic?
I'd say it'd be 20% better, I'd say.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, right, that's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, that's absolutely.
And the cost saving with this, Duncan, so at the time, MAP would have been $1,200 a tonne on farm or something, would it?
Yeah, that's about right, yep.
And this product was $450 a tonne on X-Works, so
yeah, that's right.
$5 a freight, yeah.
Yeah, and 5Ks up the road.
Yeah.
That's not a bad deal, is it?
It's pretty good.
So you're paying less for the product that starts your soil biology, and you're starting to get more nutrition out of the soil because the microbes are working. Often when we put synthetics on the soil, that kills our microbes, or that depletes our microbes or imbalances them. You reckon that we've got microbes working in the soil a bit better?
I think so, yeah. We'll know in the next couple of years when the flow-on effects happen, but I think this year it is certainly, you can notice an improvement.
Well, thanks very much, mate, for having us out. Really appreciate it. And particularly, I love coming to such an impressive crop, mate.
No, you're very welcome, Tim, anytime.
Guys, if you know someone who's interested in getting more out of their crops, send this video, and don't forget you can hit the little subscribe button down there, give it a thumbs up. There's plenty more on timthompson.ag, and there are channel memberships now too. Check below. See you next week for something else. So if you're sick of paying too much for your fertiliser, give Riverina Sustainable Fertilizers a call this season. Look, a snow angel.